Hey guys, how you doing? How is your day going? How is your week going? Today it's a very chilly day, so you're holding hoodies, but Nairobi is cold. Nairobi is cold, that's why I'm gonna be sitting. Yes, today I have brought an amazing girl. You have heard about her a lot on my channel, me talking about her, telling people about you. Njeri this, Njeri that, Njeri this. Guys, finally, I'm bringing the Mbote to Mohammed, this entrepreneur series, the Grey Couch Conversations. And in this, I want to just be, we're all about talking to the most interesting people I know. And this week, the floor is Njeri. Kindly introduce yourself. Tell us something about you.
So thank you for having me once again. And I think you missed on something. I actually did the first episode of the Grey Couch.
Yes, she really was. Yeah,
so my name is Njeri of Mbote, as you said, and I'm the team leader of VAAKENYA. VAAKENYA Limited is a company that we co-founded together.
Yeah, we were so young, around 5 years ago. We were way young.
It's actually been 5 years.
Yes,
It's been
5 years ago. You don't feel like 5 years ago. Yeah, it is very interesting. Very interesting.
So yeah, co-founder of VAAKENYA. We also have a new baby on board called
Grey Couch. We have a role here. You have to introduce yourself in 3 things. Guys, can you start mentioning them? You tell us the most embarrassing thing about yourself, the most interesting thing about yourself, and the most fabulous thing about yourself.
Wow.
Sorry for putting you on
That's
the
a
spot.
tough one. Those are 3 tough ones. So the first one was the most
Interesting. There's embarrassing, there's interesting, and fabulous.
Okay, so let me start with the embarrassing and get done with that. So the most embarrassing thing, I don't know. I can be very shy sometimes.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, I can be very shy sometimes.
What is the most fabulous thing about yourself?
It's me, my personality, fabulous. So.
I don't know what that means. She's just saying that's what's up. I have no idea, guys. She needs to tell us that's what's up, right?
It means I'm fabulous. That's what it means.
And then what's the interesting thing about you?
That's the interesting. Okay, so the most interesting thing about is just how I'm able to move into the situation and create the environment. Yeah, I tend to do that quite. I'm not gonna say easily.
Like, give an example of how you mocked yourself in this situation.
The first time I actually had, a meeting with a big CEO. I usually call myself team leader, aka CEO and all that, but I've never really had the position to sit with a mighty CEO on the same table. So I would definitely expect that, I would kind of be timid and everything, but nah, we were peers on that table.
You're a team leader, of course you're peers on the table. Oh guys, can you hear that? It is interesting, especially she's so young. She's like the youngest, most interesting person you. She has done so much. And we are gonna get into that in a second. But first, I see today you brought to the Grey Couch some goodies. And should we start with the goodies? Should we start with the business aspect? Let's start with the business aspect, and then we can close with the goodies. So, VAAKENYA, how's it been for you over the years?
VAAKENYA has been interesting.
I would love you to tell us 2 things: the industry part of interesting of that, the market side of that, and the supply chain side of that. As in, what is all this things? It's interesting because it seems like there's a story in there.
Oh, there is a very long story in there. So I've been doing VAAKENYA for the past 5 years now. And I'm gonna start with basically when we're getting started. We started in an industry that is very young. It's basically non-existent because when we started making shoes, when we started VAAKENYA, it was all about footwear. And the footwear industry at that time was pretty much close to non-existent. I'm not gonna say non-existent, but it was a dead industry because there was a time back in the 80s when the shoemaking industry used to be very vibrant in Kenya. Then it died with the influx of other things, government policies,
the imports, all that.
So the industry pretty much died. So we inherited a dying industry, when we started VAAKENYA.
That is bold. Why did you do it yourself? I know my reasons, and you guys know my reasons, right?
Everyone does. The big-footed girl.
So why the industry?
It's basically because of that. Because I really could not believe that such a big industry, such a vital industry, was dying. Like everyone wears shoes.
At some initially. That's true.
You know, actually, I think you're gonna say at some point in your lives.
Yes.
But actually, that used to be true back in the day. Sisi to our dog and everything. Kutembea na mguu, but akimaliza class it anaanza kuvaa viatu. But saa hizi as we speak, hata ukienda huko ndani yocha, people are wearing shoes. Hata kama anatembea mguu tupu during the weekends on Sundays, they wear shoes.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very vital industry that has the capability of generating a lot of revenue and creating a lot of employment, and yet we just chose to let it die.
And when you look at the history of why manufacturing footwear died, the history was because we started getting imports. And do you think that we can honestly rely on imports for the rest of their lives, or do you really need to revive the industry? Like, what do you think about it?
Definitely we need to revive the industry. First things first, why would we rely on imports for the rest of our lives if it's something that we can do it ourselves? First things first, it's definitely cheaper. It's definitely more profitable, you know, in terms of revenue generation, creation of employment,
concentration of wealth,
all that. So why do we import? And the money aside, you know, the profitability aside, and everything, and the employment and all that, don't also forget the fact that these are shoes. Like, I'm always saying that shoes are like the most important part of your outfit.
Yes.
More than your clothes. Your clothes just cover your neck.
Should we quote you in that?
You should. Actually.
Okay, why do you think shoes are the most important part of an outfit?
Because shoes, basically, the legs. Your legs are, you know, isn't your machine, then it's got designed, you know. We actually usually say that as human beings, we already have the perfect shoes, which are
our feet, yes.
Yes. So shoes are basically a protective gear for our shoes, which are our feet. And don't forget that your feet actually carry you all day long.
Except when you're sleeping.
Except when you're sleeping. So whatever it is you choose to put your feet into, really better be good.
So what is wrong with the supply chain whereby we're importing footwear? Most of us actually import footwear, so what is wrong with that part of that?
Yeah. So when we're importing, you will find that in most cases, the shoes that we import are not going to be necessarily fit for us.
Example?
As the importers. For example, in terms of, you know, the standards of making the shoes, you will find that a shoe is imported from some place. Let's take an example of China. You know, it always has to come back to China. Yeah, it's the world's workshop. And synthetics are a really big thing right now there. But it's not always that synthetics are that bad, but in Africa, they're just not fit for us.
They're not right.
They're not right for us, considering our climate, our way of life. Not really say way of life because as Africans right now, like the bigger population works more than anything else.
You know, I remember when you were still, a few years ago when we were working from Tower and then you used to commute. Ikifika time ya traffic, you see like there's a whole, this entire population of people wakitoka Inda Kalesa.
All the way, Islands mzima, wengine wanafika hadi Kayole.
Hadi Kayole, umetoka Inda na mguu hadi Kayole.
And let's not forget, hata mwenye hatembei ako kwa gari. Na gari is basically a hot box. So uko hapo ndani, it's very hot.
Yes.
Alafu umevaa synthetic. Definitely utasweat uko ndani, you're going to sweat. The shoe is not going to absorb that sweat. So it creates an environment for, you know, infections to thrive.
This is where some of you actually are living on 100% foot rot. You have this entire powder in your house. Kila siku kutoka jioni, feel kwa hao or gizi nanuka because your food is literally rotting. I never thought of it that way though.
Yeah, exactly. You see, at the end of the day, no one can really solve your problems better than you can. not even just solve, no one can empathize with your problem better than you can. So when it comes to something as vital as this, I think, you know, it's...
We need to take control.
We need to. So that is why we actually started VAAKENYA in the first place.
What was the other question? It was first you are looking at why you started the business, and then you need to know about the industry, break out the industry for us, and then you can call them market.
Yeah. So the industry, as I said, when we started, it was basically just a dyeing industry, right? Now, in regards to the market, considering that the industry is dying, the market has really no awareness of made in Kenya shoes.
You stop saying made in Kenya. Me before I made VAAKENYA, I didn't know shoes can be made. Literally, I didn't know shoes are made. I just assumed it was something that I don't know. I don't remember my recollection.
Anytime I'm talking to a group of people, the first question I always ask them, how many of you here know a single shoemaker?
A literal cobbler, not the repairer.
Okay,
shoemaker
is
it's a whole thing.
So, which one of you knows an actual shoemaker or a shoe designer? And in most cases, you know, on the best day, like in 20 people, I'll find one person. You know, so.
That is, what is that percentage? That percentage is not even a 1%, or it's a very, very small odd at the end of the day.
Exactly. So we basically don't have a relationship with shoemaking. And the downside of that is that anytime someone heard that a shoe is made in Kenya, their reflex was to assume that it's low quality. Because and you can't actually blame them.
But it's something, I had a discourse that say, if you cannot imagine it, you cannot create it.
You can't create it.
So even for consumer, they cannot necessarily create the idea that their shoes can be made for them.
I remember, you can attest to this, that time we were doing our market research, and we just going around town, you know. We know made in Kenya shoes. Then we would ask.
We know the leather. Yes, we know the leather,
the soles. Like I can actually tell a Kenyan shoe. Then when you ask them, this is made in Kenya, right? Their reflex was always to say no. This is made in Ethiopia. Because they just assume that she's not gonna buy it because I'm gonna assume it's low quality.
Yeah.
So
even though.
So like the market was really, really not receptive when we were getting started. But one thing I can really appreciate, and I always say this, when we were starting, most people avoided buying from us because our shoes were made in Kenya. But now 5 years down the line, most people are buying from us
because our shoes are made in Kenya. That is kind of like yesterday the clients, we had some clients who were doing a wedding yesterday, and they were so excited they're gonna get their shoes custom. That was the most exciting. Like that is what excited them. Like it's because it's made in Kenya, the same around
Kenya. So you can see the mindset is actually shifting. Yeah.
And what was the last question? I had the questions for you.
So there was the industry.
Living next to the airport. Do you know I live next to the airport? It is a whole thing. So, Njeri, we have learned a few things about the industry, but I would love us to dive right in. For someone who would love to venture into this industry, what are your one sentence or your advice to them? Someone who wants to venture into this industry.
Go local, you know. Think local.
Think local. Yeah. That's what you're gonna say. Is it easy being local?
No, it's not. It's not. But who said it was ever gonna be easy? I mean, easy come, easy go. So.
So you think made in Kenya is the future?
Made in Kenya is the future. That's
anyone in the industry, stay strong! Stay strong!
The reason I'm actually saying this, you see, when I told you can't actually blame people for assuming made in Kenya is low quality or, is low quality. We actually have good footwear makers out here, but they export all their products.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
That means there's no single African kid growing up. All your shoes you would always find made in America, made in Italy, made in
whatever,
made in London.
India is the most common.
India. You see all that, but you never ever go to see made in Kenya.
I don't know what a fizz.
So other than what a fizz actually. And everyone loved Tafiz. Like, if you come mahali, it's the school shoe. Even schools are saying like, no, we don't. If you don't have a Tafiz, don't come to school.
Yeah. Became the.
that's how much it was embraced. No. But considering that growing up you actually never saw made in Kenya. How are you supposed to know that we have quality made in Kenya products? You see. And when you're thinking, if you think local, the reason why I'm saying we think local, I think it's about time that Africans actually start leveraging on the consumer capability of Africans.
Africans are the biggest consumers.
We really consume, and
they know how to love brands.
And the only people who are actually enjoying that are, are external brands. The ones that just
come in.
They just come in. So why are we not taking advantage of that?
Like you find someone on the street and they can tell you everything about Air Force, everything about Nike. Suddenly they can tell you the ins and outs. We consume a lot, but we import as much as we consume. So why not just make our own products so our people can consume them and love them and fall in love? Because I would love to live in a world where, but when someone sees a single VAAKENYA shoe, they have a whole story to tell. Exactly. It's a long road home, but it's doable. I think it's doable.
It is.
So, Njeri, sister, I don't want to keep you here longer because I know you're a busy person. Without further ado, I see you came with the goodies here and would love to have a short brief about them. And I'm gonna be asking questions I've never asked. So guys, we are going to go through this through my lens. Like literally, these are the questions I need to be asking Njeri why she designed some things. I remember in the first Greek couch we talked about safari boots, or they're called, that's what Bata calls them. But these shoes are called chuka boots, right? These are called chuka boots. I'd love you to walk me through the process of why you think this shoe should be manufactured with more brands. And why did you go for it?
Yeah, so she said this is called a chuka boot, and this is one of the boots that was designed for Africans, for the African terrain. I'm gonna give you a brief history, of the chuka boot. So when the Dutch people, they were the first ones to actually colonize, the southern part of Africa and everything. So they already had their ways of making shoes, right? And the locals, who are the Khoi sons, Khoi and the sons. So they had their shoes as well. So when the Dutch came here, they actually blended both the Khoi version of shoes and their version of shoes into a shoe that was actually technologies that was actually befitting of Africa. So for the Khoi sons, they used to make shoes with the leather uppers. But the soles for them as well, it was just a whole leather thing. Then the Dutch, they had this rubber technology.
Oh, they already had rubber technology at that point, yes?
Rubber technology. So they combined them. They took the Khoi uppers in the
rubber technology.
Yeah.
And they made the first real African. That was ended up being popularized by Bata as safari boots. Yeah. That's what Bata popularized it as. And over the years you have come to love.
Yeah.
And anyone who has this shoe, I know most people talk about the headache of cleaning it, but it has never stopped consumers from buying it.
Because it's actually, you see the reason why Bata actually called it the safari boots, they actually made it for, it was basically for tourists. Most of the tourists, when they come here, they usually love to go hiking, national parks and everything and all that. And this shoe is actually fit for that. Like, first things first, when you look at it, it's an all leather shoe. Ukiangalia hadi ndani, like most of the they usually don't even have the linings.
Yes.
All
it's
leather,
very light.
All leather in the inside with zero lining. That first makes it very
breathable.
Yeah, very breathable. Very breathable. Secondly, it's the rubber sole. I always say the rubber sole is the ultimate sole for the African terrain. It's literally the ultimate sole. It has a firm grip. It also lasts very long, so you can walk a lot forever you need.
I've never seen someone say at a safari boot Elisha. I have never heard that story.
Happens, unless you've had a knockoff
sole.
Yeah.
So
plastic sole.
Why did you do it yourself?
I did it because we cannot let this shoe die.
We can't let it die
We
naturally.
can't let it die.
And what did you do different?
This is a shoe for Africans. So basically, personally, what I did different is that I variated on the leather. You'll find that most of the chuka boots that we have out here, they're usually done from hair-ons.
Yes,
we call them hair-ons. And when you look at this one that I have here, this is cashmere. This is actually a better quality than
Plus, it's easy to clean. This one is easier to clean.
and it's much
Easier to clean because it's actually upper leather. Yes.
Yeah. And it's more breathable because the pores are open. You see, with hair-ons, the pores, the hair is still in the pores, and the pores are the ones that actually bring breathability to the.
And the one that I used to do was with the other leather. It's called they used to use suede. Is it suede leather? The one that has that leather. What do you call that leather?
It's suede. And cashmere, suede is mostly split leather. It's split leather.
So it's lower quality.
Yeah, it's lower quality
Compared to?
We call this no-back leather. Yeah.
You've never heard of no back leather here. It is. And how much does this go for?
It's a top green leather. And this boot for us goes for 4,500.
Damn!
Yeah. But it is worth every penny. It is worth every penny. That I can assure you. There's another thing I want to tell you as well, why it's actually fit for Africans. You see, as Africans, biologically, I think our foot type, our foot shape, it's mostly similar to Europeans. I think, the Scandinavians, those ones have big feet as well. So when you look at it, this stitch that we have here, it's called a stitch down. Yeah, it's called a stitch down. It actually enables the foot to actually break in more easily.
So it's between this and a cemented shoe with just the regular way. This one is gonna get comfier with time.
This is gonna get way comfier with time. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing to know about this. And the other shoe I see you have brought more than one chuka. Is this also a chuka?
Yeah. So this is a chuka boot. As you can see with the previous shoe that I just did. This is basically the exact design of a chuka boot as we know them. But we definitely have to what's the word? We have to vary it. That's not what I was looking for though. But so this was in an attempt to make other versions. We do Ankara a lot. So we attempted an Ankara version of a chuka boot. And by Ankara shoes we mean shoes made from fabric. So this is khaki. And as you can see, the sole is rubber as well, but it's just a different shape. So so this is an Ankara chuka boot. We have them in two versions. It's a unisex shoe, but as you can see here, I have this. We have this other version.
So cute.
Yeah, this is more feminine.
So I would totally rock this myself.
It's amazing. I love the color too. It's nice.
It's such a bold and beautiful color, guys. It's such a bold and beautiful color, yes.
And one thing that I can actually tell you about these boots, with so much confidence,
because it's one of your favorites. I've seen you wear it all the color,
it is top down the most comfortable Ankara shoe.
It is light. I love the lightness. I assume I just got mine today, but mine is in black. They're very, very light. They're very light, and they are quite comfortable, and it's fabric, and they're very warm.
They're very warm.
Currently I am wearing them with socks, but I'm not freezing. I know I was freezing before I decided to buy myself a pair. But damn, I know that I can get behind. I just never thought I would wear this. I want to fun like this. How much do this go for?
These ones just go for 2,000 shillings.
Only 2,000 shillings, and you get yourself. We call them boho.
We call them boho boots.
Boho boots are there. Only 2,000 shillings, and you can get matching. And if you buy, that's story for that. I have a promo code for you guys at the end of this because we are awesome like that. So my next one is this. This is not called a chuka anymore. We have moved from chuka to what is this?
This is a
half boot.
This is a derby
half boot.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a chuka and a half boot though?
So basically, a chuka is defined by it's basically about the pattern.
And
I guess I'll show you. First things first. For the quarters, for the chuka boot, it's one whole piece.
Oh, I've never noticed that.
Quarters. It's usually a whole. It's
I've never
usually
noticed
a
that.
whole piece. Yeah.
That's a genuine question.
Also, the eyelets are usually
just 2.
Yeah. Others use 3. Yeah.
Depends on the brand.
Yeah, on the
You
brand.
for
So
you
it's
went
2
for 2.
Yeah, it's 2 to 3, but 2 is usually the standard. And the quarters
Is 1.
It's one whole piece.
Does that make it more comfier, or what is? Are you even see for this just a 1? I mean, is that the reason why it's comfier? Is the one piece more comfier than the other? And I see a lot of people you love putting this, what do you call this, stitch at the back.
Yeah, that is
it's
just
decoration.
It's
why?
decorational, and it also holds the stiffener in place. Yeah.
Oh, so that it doesn't run.
Yeah. So the stiffener it's something that we usually use back here, to
make it
maintain the shape of the shoe.
Yeah. I never noticed that about the chuka. Good to know. Every day we learn something new. So, and the half boot?
So this is a derby boot.
Derby boot.
This is a derby boot. As you can see, the difference is in there.
So it has quarters. It has 2 quarters.
Has 2 quarters. The other one is one whole piece. And for the derby boot, the eyelets are usually 3 to 4, depending on the manufacturer as well.
You keep going for the bare minimum yourself. I see. They said 2. You went for 2. They said 3. You just stayed at 3.
I actually, you'll see another one that actually has more eyelets. It's
that is
a shoe that I happen to be holding right now.
But then I see the other one. We're going to talk about the high tops. The next one are the high tops. So yes, keep going.
We'll get there. So this is a derby boot. It is a full brogue derby boot.
What are these?
What do I mean
what do you
by
call
full
this?
brogue? What do I mean by full brogue?
Tell us about it.
So you see these perforations, that we have here. These are the broguing, and most people actually confuse broguing for Oxford. So if someone sees this shoe, they'll just assume these are an Oxford boot.
But this is actually what she means.
We just call them brogues. You see, the brogue has nothing to do with the design. So this is a derby shoe, and it's full brogue. The reason why I'm calling it full brogue, it's because it's brogued all over the shoe. As you can see, the front. And the quarters, they are all fully brogue. Yeah, so these are full brogue derby shoe. And derby shoes are classics.
There's one of the most common shoes out here.
It was the second shoe after the Oxford shoe. The original shoe in modern footwear, as you know them, is the Oxford shoe. So the derby was the one that came next. And I always feel like the second is always an improvement of the first.
Because I've had clients say they prefer the derby boots, or they prefer the derby designs over the Oxford.
Derby is very comfortable, and the reason why derby is more comfortable than the Oxford is because it has an open lace system.
Oh yeah.
Thus it allows the foot to actually play some more.
Also, if I can move my foot here and there, it's better for the foot.
Exactly.
That's why. And these perforations, these is called what do you call the broguing? Yeah. This broguing that you talk about, do they have any use in the shoe, or just decorative?
So originally, when broguing started back in Ireland. So back there, it's usually very muddy. It rains a lot and it's muddy and everything. So the brogues initially were meant to actually remove the mud and the water from the shoe. Yeah, from the shoe.
So when you're walking, just
So that was the original purpose of the broguing. But eventually, with time, they're just decorational.
So
the brogues don't go all the way in. Right?
They don't go all the way in. Yeah, I've never thought of that. I can see that. Yeah. So at this point in time, they're just decorative. Every day we learn something new.
Every day.
The next one, I want to talk about one of my favorite designs and one of the shoes that I love to sell. Nemwell. I love selling Nemwell, guys. I love selling this boot. This boot has been well loved out here. It's been well appreciated. Can you tell me something about the Nemwell boot and what was the inspiration behind getting this shoe out here and all these parts? Because I've heard about in shoes, apparently everything has a purpose. So other than the broguing, apparently.
This is a client's, and the broguing has.
Nemwell. So the next shoe is one of my favorite shoes in the planet, the Nemwell design. Tell us something about Nemwell.
So this is a client's favorite. It's a client's favorite. And the funny thing, I didn't necessarily design it. This came from an inspiration, from a client. They were looking for some certain type of shoes. First things first, let me first break it down. So this is an Nemwell boot. it's a derby. It's a derby boot, as you can
Hold
see.
this slightly for the camera. Higher.
And the derby is usually defined, as I said, by the open list
list.
system. This is what I mean. Open, you know, the eyelets are open. And as you can see, this is a bit higher. The other one, I called it a half boot. So
This one is the high top.
yeah, this one is a high top. So, because as you can see, it's a
You can
little
just
bit
compare.
higher.
You can just compare so you can see the camera. Compare.
Yeah, as you can see, this one has 3 eyelets. This one has around
Height. Even the
10.
height is literally half.
Yeah.
From 3 to 10. Damn!
Yeah.
That is high.
So basically, when I was making this boot, right? Well, as I said, it's a derby boot. Let me first break it down. It's a derby boot. This is GT leather, as you can see. GT leather is goat leather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then in the inside, it's still all leather as well. There is sheepskin leather lining, as you can see. It goes all the way around. Right?
Yeah, all over inside it. All over inside. The whole shoe has leather. All
leather.
Kila mahali ndani yote. Damn, this is nice.
Yeah. And
So you say the client.
yeah, and this is a rubber sole, as you can see. So this is one of the most, you know, this is one of the highest quality shoes that we actually have right now. But when we started making this boot, I was actually making these boots with this sole.
Yeah.
So, as you
And
can
leather
see,
boot.
so this was the original boot.
This was the original.
This was actually the original boot. It's still goat leather as well. This is a rubber sole as well. We have 2 types of rubber soles. We have the black one and we have
The brown one.
yeah, the brown one. Yeah, this is a bit thicker. And I would say, if you're asking me, in terms of aesthetics,
That one.
this one is very beautiful.
Normal is
In terms of comfort,
that one.
this is the sole to go for. They are both comfortable though, because they are rubber soles. I just feel like this
This
is...
one has more cushioning for your feet, especially.
So this was the original boot. So I had a client who was looking for something, right? And they didn't like this sole. You know, they are into thinner soles and everything. So it was like, why don't you do this boot, then try and incorporate the
This
slim
sole,
sole
yes.
and leave out
The stitches.
the stitches. You
I don't want the
this
stitches.
decorative stitch.
We know some clients out there who know they're looking for. Those are the interesting clients.
So we tried it out.
And that's how, and that's why they were named after him, Nemuel.
Yeah. Actually, the client is called Nemuel. Yeah, so Nemuel boots. Nemuel
And he's an
boots.
executive, so it's befitting of a man. This is a shoe befitting of a man, of a busy man.
Yeah.
Of a busy corporate
Man
man.
of his stature.
A man of his stage. And how many of the Nemuel boots go
Yeah,
for?
and just like that, we got ourselves
A whole
the Nemuel
collection.
boot, and it has actually proved to be one of the clients' favorites.
Yeah,
You know, the
yeah,
clients just love it. They love it.
Nemuel has perspective. Nemuel needs to be paid something. Should
It
consider.
does. Actually, that's why I appreciate working with clients, you know, on a person-to-person
And
basis.
hearing them.
Yeah,
listening to them.
that's the best part about being a young company. You see, you know, the more companies grow, and I know we will actually get
grow.
there.
You're gonna be losing a lot of touch.
Yeah, you lose touch.
You lose
know,
a lot of touch
clients
with
on
time
the
at the end of
ground.
the day.
But right now, it's one of the
Because
things that
if
I
you're a
actually
bigger
get.
company, you'll just mass produce this.
Yeah.
And this would have been the, because this is what you had envisioned, and this would have been the boot.
Yeah.
We would have never experimented with this over the years. That is very, very true.
Yeah.
So there is advantages of being small. There's advantages of being small. You listen, but you know, at the end of the day, you just have to listen for as long as you can. And then when you can't listen anymore, you just use the knowledge you've been picking along the way to, and hope to God you keep serving your clients. Nice.
Because at the end of the day,
It's
that's the goal.
always about the client. But I hope, well, even the bigger we grow, the more we should listen.
Yeah.
With technology, we have a million ways of listening.
Yeah,
As
true.
time goes
Yeah,
by,
technology is
we
actually
should implement a
solving
lot
that
of that, make sure we listen more. Because it's always about you. Now, I am sure this is the meeting you're talking about in the beginning. This was designed by a brand, by a company that loves our shoes. And I'm just gonna, I know that I'll say because I'm not in the meeting, just know the gossip. I know the gossip of how this went. I'm not gonna spell. This is for you to tell us the gossip, the whole thing of how this shoe became a JH boot.
Yeah. So let's not call it gossip.
I mean, no gossip. No, you, yes. Fair.
But sure. Let's let me give you some tea. So
oh, serve tea. Serve tea. Give us some tea.
Yeah, so the meeting I was actually telling you about, this was it. So this was our first like official corporate client. Yeah. Official corporate. We've done
had corporate before, but usually through brokers.
Yeah, and everything. But this was directly through us. We had to go pitch.
Yes, we did the pitch. We did the whole thing, the whole 9 years. Yes.
Yeah. So this is actually a very, very huge outsourcing company. A very huge outsourcing company. And we got to work with them. I met with their CEO. He's a very cool guy, you know, and he's very inspiring. So, and yeah, we designed this. So the original boot that I went to him with was not this, actually. But just as we came up with the Nemuel boot, that is the same thing that happened with this boot. It's the same thing that happened with
we need
this
to
boot.
say your other listening partner as part of your...
So initially, the security boot that I had gone there with, the safety boot, let me call them safety boots. It was a dull box shoe. Dull box, if you have seen most of the security shoes, it's usually plated.
Yes,
you know,
plated,
heavily
plated leather.
and plated and everything. And the sole was another sole.
Yes.
I don't know if I have.
No, we don't have around here, but
yeah,
I can do it in the
it's another rubber.
editing.
Yeah, it's another rubber sole, and it's kind of way bulkier than this. So I was like, no, I don't want that bulky sole. I had another shoe that actually had this sole, so it was like, no, I actually prefer this sole. I prefer this sole. Then I don't want the dull box because the previous dull box shoes that
was failing.
Yeah,
it was seriously failing in the field.
So it's like, you know, just give me some good leather upper. You know, some good. By upper I mean the upper.
The upper's part. Remember the camera.
Just give me a good leather upper. I want you to use this sole. It's not bulky, it's sleek. You know, he's very into sleekness. Like, I want something sexy. Those are the words that he uses. Yeah, I want something sexy. It's like, yeah, so use the sleek sole, you know, use a
good leather.
Use a good leather around the dull box.
It's fully padded inside.
Yeah, this is very, very comfortable. This is one of the most comfortable shoes that we have
so far.
And as you can check, let me start with the rubber sole. First things first, it's anti-slip. It's even
written down
here.
On the
it's
sole.
anti-slip.
And it's cold resistant. And it's true rubber.
It's rubber.
Yeah.
100. It's rubber 100. You can see it's
it doesn't make noise. Yeah, and then it holds. Yeah, you can see.
It has a firm grip because of all the dentation.
There's a client that had this boot and we saved a life.
I remember. Oh, yeah. I remember it actually did save a life.
Someone would be walking around without feet if their boss would have said no to paying us for the boot. Some small money, especially people in business, small money. You have employees save their feet. Because what happened, an accident happened when she's doing this, an accident happened in a factory, something hot spilled, and the only thing that saved, I remember we went there to see the damages, and it was amazing. That guy, we got there, he was like, you saved my foot.
Yeah.
If I was wearing something plastic or something else, my feet would have literally melted into what?
Yeah.
Into that lava. So it's just a little bit, 3K more than what you're already paying. But that 3K is like insurance. Yes,
as you can see, it's full leather on the inside as well.
Yes, I can see.
All in. The lining, the insole, it's fully padded in the inside. So yeah, this is one of the most comfortable shoes that we have. It's a safety shoe. And there's another thing I'm going to say about VAAKENYA. When you come to us, we don't have one fits all, you know. As a company, and you need a safety boot. First, you have to find out, you know,
what are your needs?
What are your needs? You know, which workers are you actually getting these safety boots for? What do they do? Then we can actually design a boot for them. By that I mean in terms of the components, because you'll find some of them we use a steel toe.
Yes.
For example, this one does not have a steel toe.
Because this one is for work. This is for workers on the floor.
Yeah.
People who walk the floor in malls, in such spaces.
Yeah, and everything. So they don't actually need the steel toes. Then when you find someone who operates with heavy machinery and everything, you're definitely gonna put a steel toe for them.
Example, I've seen this mistake, and I know it's the people get hurt with it a lot. You get someone is a rider and they're wearing a steel toe. In an accident, that's gonna ruin you instead of save you.
Exactly.
Because a little bit, if that just bends like this, it cuts off your toes.
Yeah.
The wrong anything happens, because it's not fully stilled.
Exactly.
If anything goes wrong in such a shoe, readers, do not wear steel toe shoes. But keep going, yes.
Yeah. So steel toes are not for everyone. So for us, it's all about dignity. Like
Dignifying
it always
African
comes
feet.
back to that.
The promise.
Dignifying African feet. So if you come to us as a company, as a corporate, you want us to make something for you, we definitely have to empathize with the people who are wearing those shoes.
We need to know the stories.
Can we come up with
How do their lives
that
look
fits
like?
them?
How does their day looking like? Those are questions we're gonna ask you.
Exactly.
How can we serve them best?
How can we serve you best?
Amazing. That's powerful. Yes, I like that. That's so powerful. And Njeri, do you have anything else you wanna say before we close this?
Yeah, of course there's always something to you or to the camera.
Either.
Okay, so
It's your closing remarks.
Okay, I'm gonna say it to the camera. So guys, like, I really appreciate, for all the support, being with us for the last 5 years. I don't take it as a joke. We literally would not be here,
without your support.
It was not for your support, your feedback, everything. Just we really appreciate.
And your patience when you fail.
And your patience when you fail. Yeah, but guys, always remember, let us buy Kenya, let us build Kenya. That is the only way we are actually going to grow. That is the only way we are actually going to attain financial and economic autonomy.
That's very true.
Yeah. So,
that is very true.
Yeah. Let us keep buying Kenya. Let us keep, buying Kenya and building Kenya. Buying Kenya and building
And
Kenya.
in the spirit of closing this, guys, thank you for being in the Beta Entrepreneur. Great coach Njeri, thanks for coming.
Always a pleasure.
And I hope to have you again soon. Before we talk about the Christmas holidays, and because it's already December, we have to talk about the Christmas holiday. And because Njeri is here, if you shop on our website today, use the coupon code Njeri10. Njeri10 for 10% off. Njeri10. I'm gonna activate that coupon code right now after I just close this. And Njeri10 shop in www. Can you say it together?
Yeah.
www.vaakenya.com. VAAKENYA, VAA Kenya, one word. .com. Everything there, just use Njeri10 in courtesy of her showing up in the Entrepreneur series. And thank you very much.
And thank you actually for, putting all this information out there to future entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs. It's a vital gap that you are actually solving.
Her messages. Guys, you see why she's saying the thank you, that I hope after this she's giving me something for free. Am I getting a free show?
Definitely. You need to get a free M-Pesa message.
You're free. Guys, support the channel. My number is always gonna be here to support the producer of the show. There's someone behind the camera, obviously. There's someone directing this show, and then there is now my guest. It's a whole thing. So to support the channel, send M-Pesa messages. And if you need consultation, I am always available. Thank you guys and enjoy the rest of the week. With Entrepreneur series here. Bye.
Bye.
Art